Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Saturday, August the 16th, 2025. And we're wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, two held 2,000 pounds of suspected stolen meat seized in St. James crackdown. Two men have been taken into police custody for suspected breaches of the Health and Agriculture Prevention Act following the seizure of 2,000 pounds of meat, including beef and pork, during a joint operation by members of the Area 1 Operations and the Agricultural Protection Branch on Friday afternoon. Reports are that around 2:30 p.m., police accompanied by personnel from the St. James Health Department conducted a raid at a premises in Lilliput where the meat was discovered stored in a freezer. Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police Oral Pasco, the head of the APB, said the intelligence-driven operation is part of an island-wide crackdown targeting individuals who steal livestock and crops and then resell them. Persons would have stolen the animals and butchered them, and without going through a proper slaughterhouse, the meat was not inspected, so there was no stamp. Therefore, the meat is not fit for public consumption. It's a health risk more than anything else, the APB head told the reporters. Not to mention that the stolen meat and the livestock actually perpetrate criminal activities. It finances the gangs, and we are here with Area 1 along with the team members to work together to try to cut this out and ensure that farming is profitable for the farmers and the farmers only, he added. He explained that increased monitoring of slaughterhouses has made it easier to detect unstamped meat, leading to the operation where the meat was suspected to have been stolen. The Jamaica Constabulary Forces Agricultural Protection Branch was established on June 13, 2025. It is a unit within the JCF focused on combating agricultural-related crimes, particularly predial larceny. Our mandate is to protect the agriculture sector. You would have seen where we have strict mandate on enforcing all the regulations, including meats, the Agriculture Produce Act, the Predial Larceny Prevention Act, and the Larceny Act, Acting ACP Pasco said. The senior officer said livestock theft is often underreported due to fear or frustration, but the branch was created to close those gaps by working with the local divisions to help farmers recover animals and to arrest 48-hour curfew imposed in sections of Kingston East. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of the Kingston Eastern Division. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Friday, August 15, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Sunday, August 17. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. North along an imaginary line from the mountain ridge from Mountain View Primary School to Cane River Falls. East along an imaginary line from the Cane River Falls to the bridge at 10 miles of Bull Bay. South along the coastal line from the bridge at 10 miles of Bull Bay to Flag Circle. West along South Camp Road from Flag Circle to Vineyard Road onto an imaginary line to Mountain View Primary School. During the hours of the curfew, people within its boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. Contracted killers paid $100,000 to murder cop and his family. Members of the notorious St. James-based Catan Defense Force gang were contracted for $100,000 to kill a policeman and members of his family, police investigators say. The probe is continuing and the police are awaiting scientific analysis. However, they provided the public with an update on the matter on Friday evening. Last Saturday, the policeman and his family came under a deadly attack, which took place about 8:35 p.m. in the vicinity of the Elevated nightclub and lounge in Reading, St. James. The policeman's spouse died in the incident, which has generated national attention. The deceased woman, who suffered multiple gunshot wounds, was identified as a 36-year-old LaToya Crystal Stevenson, a human relations manager of Montego Bay West Village. The injured policeman, whose identity was not released in the police's official report on the incident, is reportedly attached to the Area 1 Logiscam Task Force. Reports are that the child, who suffered bullet wounds to his head, and the policeman, who suffered gunshot wounds to his upper body, were both admitted to a medical facility with life-threatening injuries. The High Commander said it bemoaned the fact that little value is placed on human life by criminals, as well as the paltry some people are willing to take to eliminate an entire family. Meanwhile, a woman suspected of being the mastermind behind the ambush was held at a guest house in Hanover on Wednesday and taken into custody. The news also understands that another of the suspected attackers, Orlando Ninja Thomas, was fatally shot in Salt Spring, St. James on Wednesday. This brings to 3 the number of suspects killed by the police since the incident. On Tuesday, Andre Littlezulu Reed was fatally shot in Shooters Hill about 4:30 a.m., while Lindell Gray, otherwise called Frass or Sassafras, was shot and killed during an alleged confrontation in the Anchovy police area about 1 a.m. Monday. The JTF said formal charges are to be laid shortly. Williams says GTA's walkout on wage talks disappointing. Finance Minister under the Public Service, Favour Williams, has described as disappointing Friday's walkout of wage negotiations by the Jamaica Teachers Association, stating that there has been meaningful progress on several items in the association's compensation claim. I note with much regret the predated media release of August 14, 2025, shared by the Jamaica Teachers Association today. While it is disappointing that the members of the JTA's leadership chose not to continue the discussions at today's meeting that they demanded, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service remains committed to the matter of wage and fringe benefits negotiations, Williams said in a media release Friday evening. She said of the many items of claims submitted by the JTA, there has been settlement of payment of advancement along salary bands and meaningful progress in the discussions around the treatment of extra hours worked, matters of uniform, continuing the broadband program, and the revision and the passage of the pension legislation to treat with premature retirement. She said there are many items of an administrative nature included in the claim that are being addressed by the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. I remain willing to continue the discussions in good faith with the aim of arriving at an outcome that is sustainable, equitable, and in the best interest of the nation, Williams said. The negotiating team from the JTA walked out of the wage talks with Williams and her team after giving the government a deadline of midnight on Sunday to present a sustainable improved salary offer. We told the minister and her team that they have until midnight Sunday, August 17, to put a substantially improved offer on the table. Failing that, all options are on the table, JTA President-elect Mark Malabver told the news. Public sector teachers have been without a wage deal since March 31 this year, when the previous agreement expired. A new wage pact was expected to take effect on April 1. Negotiations for the new agreement began last November, when the JTA submitted its proposal for a 2-year agreement to the Ministry of Finance. It reported that the ministry countered with a 4-year offer of 0% in year 1 and 2.5% in each year of the remaining years. That offer was rejected. BPO sector monitoring new bill seeking to keep all call center jobs in the USA. The Global Services Association of Jamaica says it is monitoring the proposed Keep Call Centers in America Act 2025. U.S. Senators Ruben Gallego and Jim Justice introduced the new bipartisan bill on July 29. The proposed act is to ensure call center jobs remain in the U.S. by limiting federal benefits for companies that ship them overseas. It also imposes new disclosure rules for customer service interactions and it ties federal funding eligibility to domestic operations. The Keep Call Centers in America Act requires the Department of Labor to maintain a public list of businesses that have relocated call center work overseas. Employers will remain on this list for 5 years unless they return an equal or greater number of call center jobs to the U.S. or amend the terms of their contract with the entity performing their call center work to require the work be done in the U.S. The move will make employers on this list ineligible for new federal grants and federal guaranteed loans. Employers have 180 days to be removed from the list to be eligible for new grants and loans. Wayne Sinclair, president of the Global Services Association of Jamaica, says while it is unknown how many U.S. companies with call center operations in Jamaica benefit from federal grants and federal guaranteed loans, in my experience, that's not very common among the companies that we do business with here. He says that the provision which provides the call center workers to immediately disclose to callers the physical location of the call center and or whether artificial intelligence is being used is already in place. If the act becomes a law, call center workers will be further required to transfer communications to call center located in the United States if a customer requests that they do so.
If companies are capitalized significantly by federal grants and federally backed loans, then obviously this is something that is going to have a greater impact on them than a company that has no federal grants or no federally backed loans as part of their capitalization. So obviously that piece is really only, impactful to companies that use and depend on the government for money to capitalize and run their operations. And in my experience, that's not very common among the companies that we do business with here. So again, these are the things that we're just looking at and monitoring.
In 2023, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, said it was estimated that the Jamaican BPO sector contributes approximately $136 billion to the economy annually, equivalent to about 6% of gross domestic product. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.